everybody. I guess we heard from the people that speak from both sides of their mouth tonight, and now we're going to speak the truth. The truth is, nothing they've said tonight is the truth, okay? The fact of the matter is, we have situations here in New York that is a direct result of the bail reform, okay? 31% increase in crime, 10% increase in rape, and that is a direct result of the bail reform. They claim that it's because of whatever it was that she just said now, and I sympathize because I'm a mother who lost a child. So I do sympathize with that loss. But the fact of the matter is this, we're not going to take a single situation and make victims out of women, okay? Because women have been raped in broad daylight today on train platforms. Women are being assaulted. Senior citizens are being assaulted in their homes. They're fearful to leave their homes. Our community has been demoralized by way of this nonsensical bail reform nonsense. What that is party politics. And the reason why it's there is because we have a decade of a one-party rule in New York. And that has to change. That's what's going on. We've heard tonight, they're all for educating our children. They're all for right now, right today, because we have an election. Right. They're all for bringing vocational schools back. But for decades, they have been failing our children out of high school. They are the cause of why we have a vicious cycle of poverty in New York and in our inner cities. They fail out our students. We get $37 billion is allocated to our educational Department of Education. There's 1,850 public schools, okay? There's 1,060,000 students that are being educated, or the lack thereof, and $37,000 a year is being allocated to a non-education. Because what they do by the time they pay the bureaucrats and the slobs, during that process, pennies to the dollar goes to the school. That is why teachers are buying school supplies, okay? And that is why teachers are passing the students through without them even knowing how to read or write. So what we're going to do when we get to Albany is we're going to monitor, okay, very closely how this money is being funneled through the Department of Education system. Because no child in the state of New York, not a single one, should be failed out of a system that is only benefiting backroom dealers, the pork fat, whatever we want to call it, okay? And not benefit the child. Every child born in this country is entitled to touch the American dream with the tip of his finger. Because we pay $37,000 for that. Meanwhile, students go to parochial schools. I pay $8,000 a year for my daughter. My daughter is 12 years old, and she's in 8th grade. Her vocabulary is bar none for a 12-year-old, okay? So how is it that a parochial school with an $8,000 tuition is excelling, the students are excelling? I tell you how, there's no bureaucrats there. Okay? There's no bureaucrats. They're smart. You gotta sort of catch, it's like almost playing tennis with the nonsense that they speak from both sides of their mouth. The truth of the matter is this, guys. Everything that they said here, we know this because we are no longer the sleeping giants. We have awoken, okay? We have awoken. What we need to do in our community is band together. Band together and never allow politicians that buy the turkey with your tax dollars and go and sort of give the free food giveaway. But it's with your tax dollars, everybody. Right. It's with your tax dollars. They're giving you something for free when it's not for free. It's your money. They allocate budgets to accommodate the community, and all they do is come around when it's a new election cycle and they want to sell you a dream with a free turkey that you paid for, okay? Every one of you's paid for. We have to wake up. okay? We have to wake up, and every single day from this day forward, never lose sight of the lies and the manipulation that have taken us here. I haven't heard a single politician say I'm sorry to every woman that has become a victim of rape during this nonsense bail reform. And I haven't heard of a politician that's gone to a mother's or a father's house after they lost their child, or maybe asked if they needed some burial money. I know I've paid a handful of parents' burial, okay, because parents can't afford it. I paid it out of my pocket. But no politician has gone to knock on that door and say, I'm sorry for my nonsensical passing of a pathetic law that has now made innocents, law-abiding citizens, victims, all the while sympathizing with the criminal. I'm not going to be politically correct with it, okay? There are people at justice because they're criminals. And if you can't afford, to pay for a $500 bail, maybe you shouldn't commit the crime. Tell you a little bit about myself. For those that don't know me here, my name is Samantha Zherka. I'm a mother of 3 children. My oldest son, Nicholas, passed away when he was just a couple of months shy of being 17 years old. I went through hell. At one point in my life, I just didn't want to live. And God has me here for a reason. I took my daughter in 2021 to Florida to educate her. She was suffering, as they describe children today, have more depression, and that depression stems from the masking and the social distancing and all the nonsense that they put us through for the past 3 years. My daughter suffered with migraines and suffered with chest pain, and I thought she was declining in her education. Her grades were plummeting, and I said, this is not something I'm going to do. I only have one chance as a mom to raise my kids, so I took her to Florida. When I got there, what I saw, I left New York, as if we were in a third world country. And I went to Florida and I saw freedom. The freedom that we had right before our politicians found a way to inch away at our freedoms, okay? And it's where it all began for me. It's where the fire started to build in my stomach. Because how could we be in the same country? We live in one America. And yet, 2 states, only 2.5-hour airplane distance, and it was 2 separate worlds. They were living maskless in the schools. There was no mandates for vaccines. Nobody was fired in Florida for not vaccinating themselves. No. Here, people lost their jobs. The FDNY lost their jobs. Our poor police, they've been demoralized terribly, handcuffed, and been treated as if they're second-hand citizens, the same mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and sons and daughters that step out of their house every single day to protect us. Our current politicians have made them the villains. And it is about time we stop the vilifying of the good people of our community and vilify those that have been lying to us, manipulating every single thing that they speak about. They bring up 1900 Seminole Avenue and say, I didn't know this or I don't know that. But, they did know. And it's been proven. Through foiling emails, we found out that the politician that just said that she didn't know absolutely knew months in advance. So this is all underhanded stuff. The most I can say to everyone is this. We are, whether we're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Conservative, we are people, and we're God's people, okay? We're not of government. Government is of the people. And this year, we start to make that difference. So I say to everyone, band together as brother and sister, because they've done enough of that too. Dividing us by color, dividing us by race. If we don't want an upzoning in our neighborhood because of infrastructure issues, we don't want the upzoning in our neighborhood because we have an overcrowded public school system that is already failing our children. We don't want it for many other reasons. They want to call us racist. They want to use this language that I say, guess what? Call us whatever you want. Just don't mess with our way of life, okay? This is our quality of life that people are talking about. What quality do we have? Everybody's running home when it gets dark. People are taking the ferry. They're too scared to take the trains. Every day there's an incident on the train. How many times have we heard this past month a 15, 16, 17-year-old getting murdered? It's chronic. Just a few years ago, it would have been an outrage if one child was murdered. But they want to talk about how the bail reform was a necessity. And by the way, it's working. We don't need to repeal it, my opponent says. We need to invest in courtrooms. So I'm wondering, do we need chandeliers in the courtrooms that the judges are not even working in? So a part of the jail reform, the bail reform, is precisely that. The judges have their hands tied too. So if you look at the law absolutely outlines that a person that committed manslaughter has to be released. Okay, so you know what? There's laws up there. In any which way, you want to have a debate, we can have a debate at another time, but this is my time, is it not? Okay, so then I guess you had your time. You had your time. You had your time. This is not your forum now. This is my forum. Thank you.
Continue.
Okay, so she should be respectful and keep it down. So, any which way, what I'm trying to say is this. The way the rules of engagement are working today in Albany and across this country is the Democrats, and I will say that they are not the Democrats of our JFK or of our parents. They're just not. This is a party that is hell-bent in an ideology that's designed to destroy our way of life and our quality of life. We are going to show them this November, when we take back our state.
Yes.
That's how it's going to be. No more. I'm going to be a mother when I head to Albany. And I promise you this, and I say this, the promise is going to be one that's going to be kept. There will be round tabling, okay? Every month, I want all community members to sit down and be concerned and be a part of the Albany process. I'm not going to Albany and pretend that I'm something bigger or better than you. I'm just Samantha. I'm going to be your friend, you're going to be mine, and combined as a community, we're gonna fight until we get our way. And our way is safety, stability, prosperity. That's it. No high taxes. You know, well, we want, people to become homeowners, and yet they're taxing the hell out of us. That people are leaving this state and running off to different states where there's not so great of taxes. Every which way returning, they're just bombarding us. It ends November 8th. November 8th. Even early voting, guys. Get out and vote. November 8th. Thank you. Sure. Anybody have a question? Yes.
How would you contrast your policies with that of Senator Biaggi?
I wasn't too familiar with Senator Biaggi, but tell me what was one of her policies, and I'll tell you how I contrast.
Well, I mean, she's very much conservative women's rights.
Liar.
Well, I'm a woman, and I do have a uterus. I mean, do you want to be more specific? I am a woman. I have a 12-year-old delivered. So.
Also, as far as your policies regarding Hollywood black.
I am a proponent to repeal the bail reform. Fund the police and bring them back the resources that they need to bring back safety to our communities and our streets. And most importantly, to, women are very vulnerable, okay? So I always bring them up, and just like the senior citizens, they're vulnerable. So they're always gonna be at the forefront of my mind because I'm a woman and I understand my vulnerabilities. So when I say bring back funding to the police and all the resources that they need to keep us safe, that's what I mean. And that's what I'm gonna do. And I'll work tirelessly until it gets done. That's the promise that I make to the people.
Yes, is it true that they plan on making one of the buildings at Jacoby Hospital a prison?
Well, from my understanding, they're bringing in, so they use, again, to me, it's linguistical
Stop a minute,
manipulation.
stop. Correct, they're not making it a prison. It's going to be a home for convicts with,
Proposed.
well, I didn't hear, a prison?
No, it's proposed. It's not
Proposed.
going to be. You
It's
said
not going to be a prison. It's not proposed to be a prison. So Rikers Island is a prison. Jacoby Hospital is not gonna be a prison. So,
Jacoby Hospital,
yeah, it's going to be convict housing for those that have illnesses, etc. And we don't really know how many illnesses. Sex, yes, all that. Believe me, I'm with you on this. Believe me, I'm with you, but you gotta ask it right. You gotta ask the question right. You wanna ask the question right, go right ahead.
You're right.
You wanna ask the question right,
It's
feel free.
proposed, though.
do you wanna rephrase it,
No,
or?
because if they're from Rikers Island, then whether they're sick or not, they're prisoners. It's a crime.
Yes, they're convicts, so formerly convicted, people. That's what I understand it to be as well. And I think what we lose sight of is that there are homeowners and residences that have in volume dissented against this. But our politicians are doing away, they're sort of tone deaf to the current residents and to the people who live in the community, and they're pushing things through, because to me, those are pet projects. There's something here, look, I've been saying, foil the hell out of them. If there's a tax incentive, a single dollar in tax incentive that's going to any of these projects, you're entitled to this information. If you get 10,000 people foiling this information, God knows what sort of needle in a haystack we're gonna find. But nonetheless, we don't sit down to this nonsensical, manipulation of words. We stand up and we fight. And we get them out of office. November's the day. We yield the power at the tip of our finger, more greater than they have in all of them combined. And that's the day that we get to vote them out. That's what we do, we vote them out.
Yeah, but at Rikers Island, don't they have a medical facility?
They do. This is just some other agenda. We haven't gotten all of the details yet, but we will with FOIL. We will get what we need with
They're
FOIL.
all getting paid.
How can,
One more question.
Do you have any kind of plan, if this proposal does go through, any plan for us to be able to protect ourselves? Are they gonna, is there any plan at all to help us if this plan goes through? Because we were told that the entrance is not gonna be on Seminole Avenue. So either they think prisoners are too stupid to walk around the corner, or they think we're too stupid to think that prisoners can walk around the corner.
I know that there's an organization that's been formed right now, and it's called Mothers Against Seminole. And they're working very diligently. This is how it works. Band together as a community, 1,000, 2,000 of you, foil the documents. Request foils. You're gonna find an abundance in there that you can use. It's through the Freedom of Information Act. They must provide it to you. Right now, they haven't responded to the single person who foiled because it's just one person. But 1,000 will make a big difference. You wanna know what's really going on? Foil it, because here's how I see it. They want it on Jacoby Hospital's campus, and I'm not 100% sure, but this is my business mindset. They want it there because there, it would be considered a hospital setting. You see, and with a hospital setting, they can pursue Medicare and Medicaid and bankrupt it, making a fortune for Fortune Society, everyone. Okay? So this is how they get away. This is how they get away with it. They use these great words, just tone. And you see how it sounds really smooth, right? Fortune Society. It's a disaster. Okay. So anybody else have a question?
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
I pay school taxes like just about everyone else here. I send both my children to parochial school. Are you in favor for vouchers for parochial school?
I am in favor of vouchers. I'm in favor of trade schools and high schools. I'm in favor of vocational study. Trust me, we will end the vicious cycle of poverty. Poverty is one of the reasons why we do have crime. We kill the issue of poverty by bringing trades back to children in high school. We don't let them fail. maybe they're not great in math, maybe they have an issue in science, but then when they have a trade or a vocational study that's commensurate in credit that they may be excellent at, this is the route that they would take and become business owners, business owners, entrepreneurs sooner than later in life. Thank you so much, everybody.